I want to talk a little bit about timing and sync in this video. Now, I've got the sync set to note mode as opposed to beat, and I'm going to play it along with a click in my DAW, and you'll see that when I trigger the note, it's triggered immediately and not necessarily in sync with the beat if I trigger it at points in between the beat. So it's out of sync because I'm triggering it off the beat. Or I could trigger it pretty close. And that works fine. But we can use beat mode where no matter when I trigger it, it'll round it off to the nearest quarter note in the DAW. So this has a figure of a hit and then 3/16 notes. So I started it before and it played just the 16ths until the downbeat, so it keeps it in sync. So it's interesting that it plays the phrase from the point in the phrase necessary. Now, what happens when we program this up in a DAW? Here I've got a couple of long notes programmed up, and this is in sync. And listen, when it plays back with the click, it sounds a little bit late, and that's because the natural attack of strings with the bow across the string has a bit of a slower attack, so it sounds a bit behind. So it works, but it's got that behind the beat feel. However, when we put this to beat mode, it compensates by pushing it about 30 milliseconds ahead so that the attacks line up more in time with the beat, and it'll sound more on now. It's a lot tighter. Now, you can manually do this if you're in note mode by going into your DAW and delaying by about minus 30 milliseconds or so, which at this tempo is about 40 or 50 ticks. So if I bring this down somewhere around there, it'll have the same effect and sound right on. Let's put this back and set this to beat so it's in sync. And let's look at the micro timing that's available. We can add a swing factor. Now I'm going to play this and I'm going to trigger some simpler iterations of this. So there's a downbeat with some eighth notes. By moving this, it'll swing every second one by making it a bit later to create a shuffle feel. And all the way is a full shuffle. So it's like a dotted eighth and 16th rather than even eighths. Here's 16ths. And we can transform those to a triplet feel. A little bit behind by not going up all the way, which is a nice natural phrasing, or right on. So you can get nice variations of subtle phrasing timing with this. And busier. And here we're back to 16ths. The triplets. So a lot of possibilities. Let's go back to the simple phrase with the eighth notes. We can play at double speed. And start that again. So it's an interesting variation. Back at regular speed. And at half speed. So it's more dramatic at this slower type of rhythm, but even with the 16th note based rhythms like this, we'll hear it. So again, here's normal speed. And at half. And at double, that'll just be sloppy with 30 seconds. but still interesting and usable. A little bit simpler. And swung. So these timing and speed variations are yet another way to get more variety from these style phrases. We'll continue with more in the next video.